Thank you, Chair. And first, let me start by thanking the bill sponsors, Congress members Collins and Caraveo, for this really important piece of legislation. It is really important to do so. And Mr. Chairman, I move to strike the last word. I want to take a moment to really highlight why this is important, particularly for this country, but also for my community in Ohio's 13th congressional district, as well as in the state of Ohio. We have unfortunately been significantly impacted by the surge of the opioid epidemic, impacting individuals, families, communities, local governments, and all of us in some individual or compacted way. Ohio has seen a very sharp increase in the number of opioid deaths. In 2021, according to Ohio's Attorney General, there was a record 4,500 deaths after a significant drop during the COVID pandemic. That surge increased significantly and again is negatively impacting our communities. And one thing that we have seen is increases in Black communities where we had not seen as many opioid deaths in the past. This research is incredibly important to better understand the properties of how these interact with the human body and the potential risks and harm with their use. We've seen from prescription drugs to heroin to fentanyl to carfentanil, now to this TRANQ. It is incredibly important for us to get ahead of this. So, for example, in Ohio, in 2015, 50% of the overdose deaths were related to heroin, and in 2020, only 6% of those deaths were related to heroin. However, fentanyl accounted for 81% of accidental overdose deaths. Research on novel synthetic opioids can help aid in the development of new and more effective treatments for opioid addiction and overdose, and understanding how these work and the mechanisms behind the addiction and overdose, researchers can identify targets, help reduce risk, and develop new medications to prevent and treat opioid use disasters. One of the things I've learned as a student and a practitioner of public health is if it is predictable, it is preventable. And the more information we have about the synthetic opioids, we can prevent people from even becoming addicted in the first place, and making sure that the treatment options are well researched, well resourced, and increase the lifespans of many people. So I am wholeheartedly in support of this bill. I am proud to join in the efforts of this. I do hope it makes it not only through this committee, but through this chamber and through the Senate and on to the president's desk, because people throughout our country, but particularly our communities in Ohio's 13th district and beyond, are counting on this. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield back.